All right, let's just settle. So some of you are already in a fairly meditative state. David's already started. He's already meditating. Some of us have just come out of our session, out of our last session. So perhaps there's some of you that are just kind of racing in, skinning in. That's okay too. Some of you, I can see there's some East Coast people, so you're probably ready for bed. So we're all at different stages. So wherever you're at, however it is you're showing up this evening, just know it's totally fine. It's just enough that you showed up. Just start there. Anything else from just turning up is a bonus. So if you show up to something without any expectation whatsoever, fantastic, very cool. So there is no negativity that cannot be purified. This is something that we need to continuously bring into our mind. So let's just settle. Align your body, be right on top of your sits bones, shoulders aligned with the hips, and just lengthen your spine. Imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light, stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Put some space in between those vertebrae. Bring your attention to the breath. Notice the sensations of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And go to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the face, back of the head, the neck, the shoulders, the body, the limbs. And bring your attention to any sounds that might be in your environment and just allow them to be there. Again, trying not to follow with the mind. And then just notice the thoughts. So we've just come out of our mindfulness class. So what we were looking at this evening is categorizing the thoughts. For some people, that was too busy. So we can just bring it down to once you recognize you're actually thinking, just simply say, oh, I'm thinking. What we're doing here is trying to use our discernment, our wisdom, to notice when our mind has started to wander away from our meditation and that we've become overly involved with thoughts and projects and fantasies and busyness, regret. So there's so many categories. Someone said this evening, you know, that I've got so many categories. So then that became complicated. So just keep it simple. I'm thinking. And then take a step back and observe. You know, and as Mingyur Rinpoche with his beautiful analogy, you know, this river. Once you notice you're sitting on the bank, you're free from the river. Bring to mind some people of your life. So our loved ones, the ones we don't like very much, and then our strangers, and just know that they can all change place at any time. And they're all the same, and they wish to be happy, they wish to be free from suffering and having this capacity for Buddhahood. So bring your mind back to this idea of there's nothing that you've done that's so ghastly that we can't do anything about it. Everything can be purified. But you need to start with regret. You can't purify something that you really feel pleased about. Some negativity that you feel really good about. That probably can't be purified. I think you need to have this element of regret in there. I think if you say you went and robbed a bank or something and then were living the high life off the proceeds of the money from the bank, and you thought that was just the best thing ever, the coolest thing you'd ever done, then that's not going to be purifiable until you decide, oh, that was not right thing to do, and I probably harmed people, and I've used money that doesn't belong to me. I probably created quite a bit of negative karma on the way. Then regret is what you need to start the purification process. And Rinpoche used to say that regret goes a long way to purify, but you need to start there. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you've done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. We know from our present suffering that we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, Vajrasattva, who we see as a doctor who has the methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing this Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his methods. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is your teacher manifesting in this form, this Vajrasattva form for your benefit. Except it's not paint canvas. It's a light body. So you can imagine this Vajrasattva above the crown of your head facing the same way as you. It's made of this brilliant, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And this lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud, just like our enlightened potential, which is born out of our delusions, but yet untainted by them. He has this radiant, beautiful face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, this is another section underneath the heading of reliance, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of someone you've harmed recently, maybe in the past, and then in general all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them. because they're going to suffer as a result of the harm they've done to you. Make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to the power of the remedy. And this is the actual medicine, doing the practice of purification. And there we start with the body and imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sending powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe vajrasappa samaya manupalaya vajrasappa dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe vajrasappa samaya manupalaya vajrasappa dina patita dina meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe vajrasappa samaya manupalaya vajrasappa dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And the next is the purification of your speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So it's the same as when you have a kind of a jar of, you've eaten some yogurt out of a glass or something, you put it in the sink, turn on the tap, and all the gunk floats to the top. So you kind of just imagine that, all the kind of gunk of the negativity of your speech floating to the top, and it overflows, except Rinpoche would say it overflows quite forcefully. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about other people behind their backs. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dina patita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hom pe. Ambadra sapa samaya manupalaya vajra sapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hum pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And this includes yourself, and it includes what you write. And next is the purification of the mind. And imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. This arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and turn on a switch, and the darkness is instantly dispelled with that light that comes. So imagine the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment and neediness and bitterness and anger and depression, anxiety, resentment, jealousy, grudges, all instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me. Sitam shriam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva hum pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness, and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So you imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even those subtlest imprints, as subtlest kind of molecules of negative energy from the mind. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So imagine you're feeling completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. So even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. It's a really crucial one. Just like you have regret in the beginning and then you make a decision based on that regret, I don't want to do that again. And we have these habits, they're almost kind of like energetic, they're almost unconscious. And, they harm perhaps ourselves and others. So we just make a determination, we decide, I don't want to harm anything. I don't want to harm anyone. And then we just kind of zoom in a little bit closer. Maybe we have some negative self-talk that's harming ourselves. Maybe we have a tendency to gossip, or, maybe there's a plethora of things that people do that are harmful. So think of something that perhaps you'd like to work on. Maybe refine something you have been working on. Maybe journal something. Don't forget to rejoice in your efforts and your progress. So this determination to not do again gives us strength to change. And imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light, absorbs into you through your crown, and you can think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on on emptiness. So we can think, in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level your mind understands emptiness, just place it there for a moment, and you can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And then you can also think that perhaps the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And we can also think about our missing Geshe up there in Washington State. May he be found soon. And then for all those turkeys that have been they're packaged up now and they're sitting on supermarket shelves, whatever, I know. Anyway. And then, wish for a long life for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for any of your own teachers to have long lives. Okay, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a safe weekend. It's raining here in California, so drive safe, my Californian friends. And I will see you all on Monday. Maybe I'll see some of you tomorrow. Come along and make me feel not so scared about chanting in front of Circum Rinpoche.